This is the thing that Ivy told me I make as a mistake as a mom. Hola muchachos! Welcome here. My name is Therese. I am a mother of 3 kids. One of them is in utero. And because of that, I live and breathe motherhood. Being a mom, doing mom things, looking like a mom. My life in a huge way revolves around me being a mama. So I love talking about it. I love talking to other people about it, whether you're a mom or not. It's just such a great thing to talk about. So I'm very excited for today's video. I'm sharing with you guys a ton of motherhood mistakes I have made. It took me a while to actually compile this list because I think there was just some motherhood mistakes, 3 or 4 that I've really remembered and dwelt on, and other ones that I've had to really think about and almost bring back to light and be like, oh yeah. But I hope that you guys like this list and that it's just kind of interesting to you. If you have any motherhood mistakes that you have made or motherhood mistakes that you hope to not make, please go ahead and leave it in a comment down below. I think that would be really interesting. When it came to me compiling this list, I went to my daughter Ivy and I was like, hey Ivy, she's my 5-year-old. I was like, do you know of any mistakes I've made as a mom? Anything you can think of? She said, no, you haven't made any mistakes as a mom. Kids are so forgiving and so gracious to their parents. But she did come to me 2 hours later and go, actually mom, I just thought of something. And it wasn't even that bad. And I was like, dude, I'll take it. But that whole kind of situation reminded me that we so much of the time will make a mistake and we may not even realize that mistake at first, but someone else will and they'll bring it to our attention. Sometimes we'll notice it, but when it comes to the mistakes that we make, we are the ones who carry that. We think about it, we remember them, and it can be sometimes even for our entire lives. And when it comes to our kids, it's not something that's at the forefront of their brains, especially from a young age. Isn't that so awesome? I just feel like that's God's grace just shining down on parents everywhere. Well, that's been my experience, but as if this video couldn't get any better, I am doing this as well as Natalie Bennett, who is forged this group of ladies to come together and also share a bunch of motherhood mistakes they have made. Natalie, she is linked down below. She does Motherhood May. I love her to itty bitty pieces, okay? Her content is just so real and awesome, and she's squishable, guys. I met her in real life. It took everything for me to not just squish her the whole time I was with her. She's just Natalie is everything. So she is linked down below, as well as the playlist that's gonna feature all these other mamas talking about the same thing. So long intro, but let's go ahead and get started. This is the first motherhood mistake I've made. It is literally the first. Basing my kids off of the usual or the normal or what the book says about where they should be developmentally and physically. I mostly just did that with Ivy, my first. I have Ivy, she's 5, Calvin, 3.5, Elizabeth, 2, this one, 26-ish weeks. Ivy was born just after 37 weeks, and I feel like when they're born that early, even though it's full term, it can take them a little bit to gain some weight. So my first kind of experience with Ivy was me trying to make her gain weight because the statistics said by this time she should be gaining this much weight, and if she's not, I'm doing something wrong. So raising Ivy for a little bit was hugely by the book. I wanted her to be this way developmentally, and she should be crawling at this age and walking at this age. And then I realized that all kids are so different, and holding your kid up to a textbook isn't gonna do you any favors, and it's not good for your kid either. That is definitely just the first thing that I was like, I remember being the textbook mom and wanting Ivy to weigh this much and be about this tall, and her first words needed to be something like this, and it's just not reachable. It's not realistic, and we need to celebrate our kids for who our kids are and not for what they are or lack in a textbook. Okay, the next one. And I'm legitimately really serious about this, but I can see how some people may be like, what? But I'm literally embarrassed about this. A huge mistake I've made as a mom is not getting my kids to ski by the time they were 2. And I know I was just talking about the whole textbook thing or whatever, but the thing is I wanted to give my kids the experience of skiing down a snow hill mountain around 2 years old. It wasn't to see if they could do it. It was to get them to do it. We could be a skiing family. I've skied for years. Kieran skied. We love it. And with Ivy, it didn't happen. And then with Calvin, it didn't happen. And then with Elliot, it hasn't happened. And then I was like, maybe we'll try this winter, but then this baby will still be so new. And how am I going to take 3 new skiers to the skiing hill with a baby who doesn't ski anyway? We might wait till later, but I really wanted my kids to be like the super young skiers, and they're not. And I hugely regret that. I wish I spent the time and the money to do that for the kids and with the kids. Oh man, they would have just loved it. But as far as I know, I think I have more time and we can always do it later. My kids can't even ice skate, okay? My 2-year-old can skateboard, but they can't ice skate. This is a good one. So many moms feel this. Feeling guilt over my kids not eating a well-rounded diet easily. And I'm referring to cucumbers and carrots and celery, even bananas. It took time for all of my kids to start eating fruits and vegetables. And it is still sometimes at the table a bit of an issue, and it's hard. I wouldn't say my kids are very picky eaters. Like, they'll eat like sushi or Chinese food or like some borderline actually weird stuff. But when it came to fruits and vegetables, it was just weird for them. So I would beat myself up over it and be like, my kids aren't eating fruits and vegetables. I would have to hide their fruits and vegetables in like a smoothie. I would always introduce like a no thank you portion of vegetables and fruit to them, which is just a smaller portion that they would usually say no thank you to, but they still have to have a bite anyways. And a lot of time they would chew it and they'd spit it out, or they'd try to swallow it, start choking and throw up. Like, it was horrible. But now I have a kid that easily eats salad. I have kids that love eating fruit and some veggies. I think it just takes time. And I think we need to be gracious with our kids. They're not gonna be like those kids next door that eat raw broccoli because they want to. There was a point my kids wouldn't eat vegetables dipped heavily in ranch. Like, vegetables were that weird to them. And I get that. I didn't like vegetables until I was married. Legitimately, like some veggies I was just like, I don't like these. And now I'll eat veggies. Learning to not feel guilty or ashamed of what my kids aren't eating in their diet. It can take up so much mental energy as a mom because you're shopping, you're preparing the food, you're serving it to them. A lot of it is just really on you, and we need to be gentle with ourselves and gracious with ourselves, and then do the same thing with our kids, because guess what? There's a lot of foods that I don't like, that I don't want to eat, and I don't want someone to force it on me, but I'm willing to try and learn. And that's kind of like the force that we need to do with our kids. It's just encouraging them to try it out and for them to learn. And that's been the best thing for me. And also not differentiating like vegetables from dessert, from fruit, from bread. Like, it's all food. And I feel like that's been really helpful too, serving the kids with veggies and cookies together. I think it's good for them mentally, for them to not feel shame over eating something that's like a cookie, but keeping it on the same level as vegetables, which also is good for us when it comes to vegetables too. Number 4 is underestimating my free time with my newborn Ivy. So I said yes, I said underestimating. When I was pregnant with my first Ivy, through my pregnancy and postpartum, so many people are like, you're gonna be tired. No, mostly in the beginning of my pregnancy, you're gonna be tired, nap now because you're not gonna nap later, you're gonna have no free time. And I really prepared myself to be like overwhelmed, mildly depressed, and almost like not okay, because I feel like people are like setting me up for that. And then when Ivy came, I was shocked at how much free time I had on my hands. I couldn't believe it. I was so free. Me and Ivy would do things last minute. We would leave the house at like 7:30 to go to the park and do things. I was involved in every single mom group you could dream of. I was a part of a mom's book club, a mom's library club, which was different from the book club. Ivy was involved in a baby club. I was doing stroller fitness. I had a stroller gang. I was making myself busy because I didn't know what to do with all this free time, because honestly, Ivy slept, and then she ate, and then she slept, and then she ate, and that was it. There wasn't too much more than that. So a lot of people, when they found out I was pregnant for the first time, they came at it in like a negative way, like, oh man, you're gonna be tired, it's gonna be annoying, you're gonna wish you had time for yourself. And I didn't experience that, and I think I was shocked that I didn't experience that. And it actually took me time to be like, Sarah, it's fine that you have free time, and it's fine that you're trying to fill up your time. I guess I just wasn't expecting that. And I know it's an unpopular kind of experience or opinion, but that's just what I dealt with. Number 5 is believing what everyone told me or trying to incorporate what they suggested into my new motherhood role. Because again, when you have kids or you're pregnant, especially the first or second time, people really feel like they need to tell you things. And sometimes it is too much. And with Ivy, I tried to really do almost everything people told me to do. And I found that it made things difficult. I needed to be reminded that just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for me or for Ivy, because we're both very different than other people, and our dynamic is very different. So I wish I just listened to some people's advice, maybe took some of it, maybe threw some of it in the trash, and then maybe tried some of it out and didn't feel so bad about if it didn't work out. Being gracious to myself there. Advice is great, especially as a first-time mom, but at the same time, it's kind of double-edged sword. Sometimes it can be the last thing you want to hear. Okay, this is another one. Forgetting about my needs or my husband Kieran's needs. When Ivy was born, I really just focused in and I like honed in on her. She really was my everything. She was attached to my hip and I focused on her needs, and over time, I started to see a bunch of things I used to do for myself or Kieran, but then I completely stopped or ignored them because of all the needs that Ivy was having that I felt like I needed to feed. It is so easy to struggle with multitasking or trying to keep your life that you had before in the way that you ran your household and treated your spouse or whatever, and then add a baby to that. There's a ton of things that I just kind of pushed to the side when it came to me or Kieran or even our relationship. It is so easy to do, but forgetting about the needs of everyone else but my kid was a huge mistake. And as soon as I realized that, I like stopped and flipped it around, and we've been going strong since then. This is a huge one. This one is interesting. So directing anger towards my kids that wasn't rooted in their attitudes or actions to begin with. Not like, we have to make a disclaimer. If your kid does something that causes you to be angry, you have no right to show furious anger towards them. You are allowed to show that you're disappointed. You need to stay calm and loving. But even if your kid does something bad or really bad, that is no excuse for you to just like rip it off on them or be like super angry. That's not what I'm saying, but I can literally, and here's the thing, I'm not an angry person. I don't get angry easily. I can get upset, like emotional, but angry, I can think of 2 times being a mom where I've gotten angry at my kids. And both of them were misdirected anger. I was affected by something else, and then I went to my kids and they did something very small and I just let loose. I got like red in the face and I even had tears coming down my eyes. Like I was just so angry. And even though it only happened 2 times, I still think about it and I still feel horrible. Even after asking the kids for forgiveness and confessing my wrongs, I just felt and still feel that sense of like, ugh, which I'm thankful for. I am so glad that I continue to have these feelings of guilt and regret over it because it reminds me every single day to not do that. Sometimes it takes us making mistakes to stop making those same mistakes because it sucks when you're going through it. I think because I'm not an angry person, when I feel angry and then I shed it onto my kids as a way just to vent, it's like the worst thing I can do because it is so not like me and it is so uncalled for. Okay, 3 more. This one, very basic. Not caring about my kids' sunglasses or footwear. This is a huge mistake. Like, 100%. I realized once I think Calvin was born, I was like, I wear sunglasses all the time in the summer because the sun hurts my eyes. I wear nice sunglasses, and my kids either don't wear sunglasses or like cheap sunglasses that aren't gonna do diddly squat. And I was like, what am I doing? So it's not like my kids wear super fancy designer sunglasses, but they wear solid UV protection sunglasses that stay on their face, that look really good and protect their eyes. Same goes with footwear. I am so tired of these very skinny shoes that they're making for kiddos that aren't comfortable and forces their feet to just be like, and then as they grow, their feet are just unhealthy and squished all the time because of their footwear. I wish we just, from the beginning, bought really awesome footwear. If you're gonna invest in your kids, let it be in sunglasses, footwear, bathing suits, and outerwear. Everything else, t-shirts, jeans, skirts, whatever, you can thrift, but those are kind of just things that you should put your good money towards because it's worth it. But yeah, it was kind of like, if I'm doing this stuff for myself and my own sake and health, I should probably be doing the same kind of things with my kids. This is the thing that Ivy told me I make as a mistake as a mom. She said, Mom, sometimes you forget things and that can be hard or sad. I know exactly what she's talking about. So Ivy is a quality time person, and there's been a few times that I have told her, yes, we can sit down and talk and have tea and play a game together. And then life gets so busy and it doesn't happen that day. And then she'll remind me at bedtime and I'll go, oh, I forgot. So it's taught me two things. Number one, I need to tell Ivy how it is and say, Ivy, we can try to sit down and play a game today. I'm so busy, but we can see. I'm not promising, but we'll see. Or kind of starting the day being like, we are going to play a game, Ivy, and I am going to structure my day around game time because she needs that, and it's her love language to be with me and to hang out. So to be like super proactive in that area. But like forgetting things for me is really easy to do. That's why I'm a planner. That's why I write everything down. The more I live, the more I forget. I am just forgetting things all the time. But I think especially with my kids, I need to make sure that I'm not telling them something's gonna happen and then it doesn't happen and I forget about it. Because in so many ways, I am their assurance and security with just how their world is unfolding. And if I can't own up to it, it can be a little intense and even like scary for them because they're like, we actually don't know. So yes, I am still working on that. And the last one is not doubting my kids. I'm sure a lot of people say, a huge mistake they have made as a mom is doubting their kids. Mine is the opposite. I think in so many ways my kids are so capable and they can do so much stuff, but turns out they can't do everything that I think they can do. Sometimes with my kids, I can set the bar too high. And I don't feel like I'm too rough if they don't reach that, but I think I need to be more careful of what I think they can do. Just be more gentle with them towards that area than just being like, yeah, of course you can do this. And then they can't do it. And I'm like, why can't you do that? I think I just need to see where they're at before I form like a conclusion of where I think they are at. So yes, like doubting your kids isn't okay, but then at the same time, not doubting your kids isn't okay. There is a balance of just knowing what your kids are capable of. There will be times where you're gonna have to test the waters and see where your kids are at. But yeah, it's kind of a sticky road to walk on. It's really interesting. But I think my kids amaze me a lot in the things that they can do. So I think that they can do even greater things where really I just gotta let them do their thing and show me and then just enjoy watching them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching me share my mistakes with you. It's kind of vulnerable. Like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, that was kind of vulnerable. But if I was gonna be vulnerable, I want it to be online so everyone can watch it. I think it's good to be open and I think it's good to share. And I hope that you guys like this video. Again, the playlist of all the other ladies doing this is down below. Go ahead, check it out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.